Hey, this is going to be a little bit different. The meeting I had with Covey last Thursday, I've just been playing it over and over and over again. Well, I didn't change my narrative. The county certainly hasn't changed their narrative. I'm not, I'm still not entirely certain what I'm going to say at Commissioner's Court on, well, what's today's date? Today's 24. Should be the 26th. Yeah, the 26th. And I don't even know if I'm going to make it, Something could pop up, but again, I guess back to the old grindstone. So, as I'm sure I would expect anyway, share with the other commissioners and Judge Gaddis, is I admitted I need capital to start my ideas. Well, no kidding. Uh, initial testing to see if the ideas will be viable. Which I mean, they're tested through, at least the last probably, well, I know 30 years. And there's been some advancements in the last five. Well, a little more than that. The research was published uh, in 2013, so I imagine it's at least a year before that they were getting the information for some of my ideas. Um, I mean, no kidding, I'm going to need capital. Could I get it all myself? Yes. But I want these ideas to be worked, the community. Community projects that are going to make all our lives better and our children's lives better. Uh, if if anything, it'll just be a better way of doing things. Uh, and with any luck, we won't have our kids inherit our debt, which they essentially already have. It just so why don't I go do this myself? Well, again, community effort, and I see it as my idea is more beneficial if it's a community effort than if I did it myself. I mean, you can call it selfish and a whole bunch of other things, but if I do it all myself, which I'm actually starting to do, uh, I doubt I'll feel the need to share the profit, whatever that is, be it more efficient way of doing things, a better way of doing. Well, I guess efficiency is better, or the money that could be used to get us out of debt and help those in need. Which, yeah, some of my money will probably go to those in need, but it won't exactly be helping the county get out of debt. You, you know, so that's why I'm trying to get it to be a community effort. It's just better use. Sort of like, the $10 in your pocket, is that better used for you or handing it off to that homeless guy who could use a meal? It's sort of like that. As I'm sure everybody's seen me up there since October 14th of last year. I'm not entirely good with words, and I have yet to overcome the 3 minute time limit. That's still working against me. Even though, yes, I've used a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Um, I think I'm just gonna have to go back to I write, as far as 3 minutes concerned, a long speech that's 10, 15 minutes long, and just pretty much pick up where I left off the following weeks. Along that line, what we could do as a community. I'm not saying I write something. I'm not saying I have to be the final say or even a say at all about writing a speech, but a long speech is written, uh, an hour long. Uh, it could be even 15 minutes long, and 20 people sign up to speak, and they all have a copy of the speech. And wherever one person leaves off, the next one picks up. And let's say the speech is not an hour long; it's 15 minutes. Well, whenever that speech is complete, the next person, the sixth person, will pick up at the beginning again, and just repeat and repeat and repeat for an hour. Because the whole deal is the government doesn't know what to do with anybody as long as they're not violent. They're violent, yeah, boom, toss them in jail. Break the law, toss them in jail. But abide by it, and they don't know what to do. They kind of go in panic mode. Because with this conversation with Covey, I feel it was more to test my legitimacy if I'm just blowing smoke. But I went to that meeting ready to put my money where my mouth is. I demonstrated that a little bit, but not fully, because I fully believe if I just lay my ideas out there, that the county will take and go, oh, well, you're so giving for it, and you want to be better, well, then here it is. Such as the habit of those destroying our lives. Now, there is a part of the narrative that I do agree with. Planning ahead so the driving the flow of Williamson County isn't like Austin, where it's just crazy. The roads don't flow together anymore in Austin. They're not great roads. And of course, again, that Cesar Chavez incident. Well, I guess it's not an incident, but yeah. Cesar Chavez problem. Great, I get that. Plan ahead. But the way things are being conducted throughout the United States, and in fact throughout the world, but I don't expect Commissioner's Court to handle anything that is outside of Williamson County. LA, well, California as a whole did it, but LA built more and more and more roads, and then eventually figured out that's not solving the problem. And there's a reason why it didn't solve the problem. It's because the more roads you built to relieve congestion and have better flow, more and more housing was built, and more people filled those houses. And once people get in those houses, typically they have a kid. They have another kid. And when that kid leaves, most of the time it's, oh, empty nesters, let's have another kid. Which is their freedom to do so. Well, that's kind of... It's their freedom to do so. I'm not against that. But we are fighting human nature. It's a bit like, say you got a deep cut. And that's the development happening. And the stitches are the roads. The stitches help relieve the problem and start to fix it. But, like how construction is done, how it's handled within Williamson County and elsewhere in the world, that cut just keeps happening. There's more and more cut. The cut's getting longer. So, and the stitches can never keep up with the cut. And we're really on the cusp of bleeding out. Sorry for such a gory comparison, but it's horrible. And as long as more and more is built, I mean, Covey says it's a chicken and egg problem. All right. Well, fine. We have that egg, and it's going to hatch into a chicken. I'm still working on how this really relates. It works, but how to put it in words, put fluff there, is where I'm having the problem. You know, we can only handle so many chickens, so therefore we can only have so many eggs. You know, if you didn't bring in the development for housing, be it apartments, actual houses, condos, what have you, we wouldn't have the need for more and more roads. You're forcing the chicken to lay an egg, is what it is. I just personally believe that despite the lack of power the county claims to have, it's more of between the cities and the county, they have a very nice thing going for themselves. All right, you handle this area, I'll handle this area. I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone. We'll be good. And the mayor of Georgetown has definitely demonstrated that, to me, it seemed on a whim that he'll just change stuff in the moment. The county and cities only seem to approve things that are detrimental to our health, which summed up as terrain denial. It's forcing us into ever smaller places so the people are more easily managed by the few. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. That's what's happening. Whether it's consciously done or not, it's what's happening. And I strongly suggest reading a book called Make Room, Make Room, because that is where we're headed. Well, moving on a little bit. Again, I'm all for people doing what they want with their property. All right. But as last week showed, if you're not doing what the government wants, because the county commissioner's court is the government, you're not doing what the government wants, well, they're going to make the decision for you. You can say no, they're going to say yes. You say yes, they're going to say no. And their mission is to make our lives worse, consciously or not. You know, you have the complete right to sell your property. They openly, well, they tell me that. I don't think they've said it to the public. I mean, they'll tell me that till they're blue in the face. But you don't have the permission to keep your property. But oh, by the way, I want you paying taxes on it. And I know taxes pay for our roads, schools, and all that other stuff. You know, definitely a yin-yang deal with taxes. But if they want your property and you don't want to sell it, they're going to take it. And the reason THF's eminent domain was 86, what's it called? 86, whatever, taken out was because that put the commissioner's court and the city council members of Williamson County cities under fire. That made it to where their property could be taken on THF's whim. And they didn't like that. They were in danger of having their property taken, which they have done to others, and they didn't like it, so they changed it. You know, as I've said before, I walk in a store and I go, oh, okay, I'm taking this. Oh, you have to pay for it. Well, all right, here is fair market value for that, you know. I'm just paying what I think is a fair market value for it, and then I'm taking it. And oh yeah, that guy down the road, he gave me permission. That's what it amounts to. Consent or conquest really sums it up nicely. We'll either take it from you by consent, or we're going to take it from you by conquest. We really don't care which. You know, I kind of spinning in place here with talking, but it is off the cuff. So yeah, if the roads are supposed to be relieving the tension, then we've got to stop building developments as far as housing, buildings, and all that. It's the only way to solve it. It's the only way to make the relief of roads work. You know, you have the right to sell your property. You don't have the right to protect your property. And another narrative, this will be the last thing for this video, is Covey brought up that, oh, well, she didn't bring it up directly, but okay, well, part of the reason taxes increase is because that's from the determinative value of your property. Well, you put a nice big business building up to it, you put a giant freaking road next to it, it's going to go up in value. The property is exact same, but it's all perceived greater value by the tax man. And to prevent that, I mean, apparently I don't have the right to do that. I have the ability to do it, and they really can't stop me attempting it. Hello, right to pursuit of happiness. Doesn't mean I have to achieve it, yes, but I have the right to pursue it. You know, yeah, it would be nice that, you know, my property's worth tens of millions, you know, whatever, some huge number. That's a lovely value. But paying taxes on that sucks. So, have my property valued at $1. You know, I may only pay 15 cents for property tax. I mean, property going up in value is great for those who plan to invest in real estate, or maybe sell it on later down the road, but been here 30 years. There's people who've been here twice that long. I mean, some of them nearly 3 times that long. You know, they're not planning on selling. Maybe that should be an option when buying a house, property, or whatever. Do you plan on selling it, or do you plan on staying? You plan on staying, the value doesn't go up, or regardless of the value, your taxes stay the same. You know, but I know I said that as the last thing. I'm sorry for lying. You know, more schools, more buildings are going to pay taxes on it because it's perceived as greater value. You know, and the county clearly still believes that tax increase stops at 65. Again, no, it doesn't. I've looked into it. It does not. Property tax, you only have the option to freeze your property tax at 65. All right, and it doesn't start until the 65th year. So you still have to pay taxes on your 66th year. You still have to pay taxes on your 65th year of how they are. So let's say, keep it real simple. Say on your 65th year, uh, you go apply for it, they grant it, but whatever value properties and all that are at during that year, let's say Wolf Ranch housing's complete. Let's say they put up uh, a big box store next to your property. At 65, you can barely afford taxes uh, from your 64th year. So now your 66th year, great. Your property taxes aren't going to increase anymore. But it's still going to be hard to pay them. Because a new school was added. Well, that doesn't even deal with property tax. The taxes you pay for schools and roads, and the more there are, the more you're paying. I know you know this, but so yeah, great. Your property tax is frozen, but that doesn't mean everything else is frozen. You know, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's it. I don't know how long I've been going off. Probably 20 minutes or more. But yes, if you see this, you want to get a few people together to go to Commissioner's Court to do a 15-minute speech, 20-minute speech, or even an hour one, and just cycle through the people and do that every week until things change, I'm all for it. And I don't have to have a final say. I don't even have to say in it, but I will participate in it long as I agree with what is written. Uh, the whole thing, and I don't expect anybody else to do anything different. Uh, but if we can get some type of real meeting going on, uh, we can circumvent the problem. Commissioners Court uh, members, uh, city council members, circumvent the problem. Then we don't have to worry about them. All right. Thanks for watching. I didn't plan it on being this long, but I appreciate staying with it. See you next Tuesday, I guess.